Tonight, Near Star maintains the Port Pirie smelter is safe despite delaying a loan repayment for its redevelopment. And the region set to play host to a protest against drilling in the Great Australian Bight.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Near Star is assuring the Port Pirie community the future of the town's smelter is not in jeopardy. It follows a decision to defer the first loan repayment to the state government for the facility's redevelopment.
A multi-million-dollar smelter transformation now up and running successfully, but now questions are being raised over the finances which made the overhaul possible. The state government went guarantor, underwriting $291 million for the multi-million-dollar upgrade. Now, Near Star has chosen to defer the first 3 payments, following an 18-month delay in construction and other cost overruns.
Near Star have advised us that up to $118 million of payments to be deferred until November the 19th.
First I knew about it, quite frankly, and it was a hell of a shock to me.
Near Star says it hasn't breached any agreements by delaying the payment process. It maintains it will also continue to employ more than 700 workers at the Port Pirie site.
There is no threat to the Port Pirie plant. It's very viable.
Things are progressing well in terms of the smelter redevelopment at Pirie. We welcome that fact from the viewpoint of the Pirie community.
The former Labor Treasurer Tom Koutsantonis, who signed the deal, says the Port Pirie community is relying on the Treasurer Rob Lucas to defend the town's major employer.
The people of Port Pirie are relying on him now. They're relying on him for their jobs, for their mortgage payments, to make sure that this company survives, because Port Pirie is a one-company town.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
It took firefighters nearly 5 hours to tackle a massive blaze that erupted in Broken Hill last night. A truck carrying bales of hay burst into flames at the corner of Creedon and Burke Streets at around midnight. Pictures show the size of the blaze, which took firefighters just over an hour to bring under control. The driver of the truck escaped injury. It's believed a mechanical fault is to blame. Streets in the area were closed off as council cleared the scene. A woman involved in a crime spree across the state who was finally arrested in Port Lincoln last month has received a suspended prison sentence. Last week, 21-year-old Jamie Lee Dando attended the court hearing via a video link from Port Augusta Prison after pleading guilty to 14 offences. They include making off without payment, criminal trespass, 2 illegal interferences with motor vehicles and 8 theft charges. She was handed an 18-month good behaviour bond and lost her driver's licence for a year. The man believed to be linked to the spree with Dando is still at large. Stirling North Primary School has done its part to increase awareness of road safety by holding its annual Walk to School Safely Day. Lessons and workshops will also be held to educate students on the benefits and risks when walking to school.
Today's cold, and wet weather probably lent itself to time when kids would rather get dropped off in the car, though parents, teachers and students alike braved it all to focus attention on a safe commute to school.
Today's Walk to School Safely Day, and it's an opportunity to promote walking to school safely.
The day aims to reinforce the positives of walking to school.
Obviously the healthy aspect of walking to school, doing that with your family, but also it reduces congestion around schools as well, which is fantastic.
With over 300 kids at Stirling North Primary and 2 crossing zones, the school says the risk of an incident is high.
So we want to make sure that people are acting road safely in terms of their driving, and also that our students are being safe around the crossings as well.
The message a timely reminder after the tragic death of an 8-year-old boy on one of Port Augusta's main strips just last week.
It's very relevant for us at the moment to be able to ensure we get that message across to be safe on our roads.
Though amidst the harrowing consequences of what can happen on our roads, the school is urging parents not to be scared off, to strap on the runners and walk with your kids to school. And as for the drivers,
if you are dropping your kids off at school during the kiss and drop zones, please be mindful of the road rules.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Port Lincoln residents against drilling in the Great Australian Bight will join forces tomorrow. Organisers this year are hoping the Hands Across the Sand event will be its biggest yet, eager to see a line stretch from the jetty through to the yacht club.
A continued bid to stand united for the Great Australian Bite.
Is an opportunity for everyone in the community to come and show that they feel really strongly about this issue.
Plenty of the town's youth will be looking forward to speaking up.
Propositions to drill offshore for the bite threatens all of our livelihoods in the industries.
Organisers are hoping local businesses will also be supporting the cause.
While I can't speak for all businesses here, we're seeing the majority of businesses that I've been speaking to opposed to drilling in the Bight.
At this stage, there's only one council along the Eyre Peninsula that's taken a stand against drilling in the Bight, the Elliston Council.
And that's actually the result of a lot of hard work by people in Elliston.
With hopes the event will encourage other councils to follow suit. Tomorrow at 11:30, organisers hope to see the biggest turnout yet.
I would love to see the line stretch from the jetty to the yacht club. So, I'm saying to people, well, we're holding hands, bring someone to hold hands with.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, the latest from the Silverton wind farm project near Broken Hill. Details next. GFG Alliance is looking for Whyalla residents to step up to its environmental consultation group. It comes as it looks to revamp its engagement with the local community through a new member of staff.
Whyalla Steelworks is the city's major employer, but issues surrounding the environment have at times been a tense talking point. Many have been resolved, but the company is still keen to hear about what's working and what isn't.
Engagement with the broader community of Whyalla. It's also about engagement with our communities in Ardrossan, Iron Knob. It's also about stakeholders such as landholders.
Denise Sharp has been in the role for 6 months and also works alongside the community-based Environment Consultation Group. She's encouraging residents to contact her and speak up.
You're very focused on what they are and don't necessarily see what those broader impacts could possibly be. And that's my role, is to pick that up.
And there's also room for residents in this process.
Be a voice for the community to to express the views that they might have.
Member for Giles Eddie Hughes chairs the group and says it's important local voices and views are heard.
An important conduit between GFG Alliance, the community.
Details about getting in contact with the ECG are on our Facebook page. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
A major milestone has been reached at the Silverton wind farm north of Broken Hill. 2 turbines are now up and generating power, with more set to come online over the coming weeks.
It's a project blowing in the right direction.
Up to a maximum of 7 megawatts, which is going into the grid and helping to power Broken Hill.
Almost a third of the turbines for the Silverton wind farm have now been erected, which can be seen on the horizon over 25 kilometres away. AGL says the progression of the project has been steady, but the wind, ironically, is causing problems.
What we want on the wind farm, obviously, is for the wind to stop to let us build the thing, but then after that we want it to go back to producing so that we can get the good output out of the wind farm. But we are a little bit reliant upon the gods, so to speak, to help get some good wind conditions.
Contractors have been working into the night to capitalise on slower wind speeds, which allows them to lift blades into position.
What we find with the wind out there is it's very blocky, so we tend to lose a day or two rather than a couple of hours.
The turbine blades continue to be brought along Silverton Road, typically arriving around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. AGL says the deliveries will continue for the next 3 months.
It's a real balance between getting the turbines installed on the hill and then bringing components up. You don't want to bring too many components up too quickly because then it creates a challenge to manage on site.
The next wind farm community update meeting will be held in June. In Silverton, Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
Whyalla's waste management contract is set to change hands, with Veolia winning the contract. While residents will notice little change to their bin collections, the deal spells the end for the current dump.
Cleanaway has been picking local rubbish up for the past 4 years, but come 2021, the contract is moving trucks. The company it beat for the tender last time has won back the contract, as well as the rights to manage landfill from next year.
1 July 2019, Veolia will start managing our waste. In 2021, Viola will also start managing our waste collection.
While bin mornings will be largely unaffected, the big change is coming to where our waste goes. The current dump will shut next year, with a new waste management facility to be built in the industrial estate. And most municipal waste will be shifted to a regional facility between Cal and Port Lincoln.
The future of waste management is regional landfill sites. Local councils really can no longer afford the imposts that a landfill incurs.
The current site on the Iron Knob Road is close to full.
Our landfill has run out of room, John, and in fact in this coming draft budget we're having to put a small amount of money to ensure we can extend the life for.
The arrangement means for 18 months from next July, rivals Cleanaway and Veolia will have to work together.
Both parties will have a seamless integration, and from the public's perspective there will be no disruption.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
After the break, unique works on show in Port Pirie as the town plays host to an Indigenous art exhibition. That's next. Educators from far and wide have gathered in Port Augusta for the annual state conference on the Isolated Children and Parents Association. In its 47th year, the event aims to address issues related to distance education in remote parts of the state.
This room is full of people who truly believe in the power of remote country education, and they're coming together to
put forward motions that basically express, their concerns about the education and or the future education of their children.
The conference is being held in Port Augusta and gives rural educators from around the state the chance to discuss the issues affecting isolated children and parents.
Yeah, it's a challenge to educate kids out in the bush.
Many people here are actually supervising mothers and their children are doing distance education.
So it becomes a very blurred line between being a teacher and then coming home and trying to be a mother.
This year also marks the 60th year of the Port Augusta School of the Air. The school is part of a wider group of colleges, but organisers want to see it reinstated as a standalone school.
There's a little bit of instability and they just basically want to secure that for the future because there will always be people in the bush.
And while the conference is in its 47th year, it could be the last year it's held face-to-face, with organisers putting forward a motion to move next year's event to a web-based platform. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
The Port Pirie Regional Art Gallery is celebrating talent and diversity of Aboriginal artists from across the region. The Tarpari exhibition features pieces from 9 different local creators aimed at improving well-being and inspiring creativity.
Indigenous Art bringing Port Pirie's gallery alive. In its 3rd year of running, the exhibition aims to increase the understanding of identity, history, creativity and culture in our community.
This is their artwork and it's really pleasing to see that we have this standard here in Port Pirie.
Bright traditional colours lined the walls with dot paintings of traditional Aboriginal symbols and native animals. A few artists have also experimented with a new style of painting to create these glossy masterpieces.
Experimenting with resin art, so that has a really good example of how they're diversifying in their techniques and the medium that they use.
And there's something for everyone to enjoy. Artists from Gladstone Primary and John Pirie Secondary School have also contributed their own artwork to this exhibition.
It really is quite diverse in age group and content.
The works were also on display at Tapari Wellbeing Day earlier this year, before moving here, where they'll be on show until mid-June. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
It's Friday, so it's time now for footy tips.
Hello and welcome to round 5 of SGL football. This round starts with South up against Central at Port Augusta's Central Oval on Saturday. I'm tipping South. In Pirie on Saturday, it's the Lions who face West at Port Oval. I'm tipping the Lions in that one. And on Sunday in Pirie, it's arch rivals Port and Solly set the clash at Port Oval. I'm tipping Sollies.
The teams start playing each other for the second time this weekend. First up in the early game, Memorial Oval, West Whyalla versus Central Whyalla. Central's not travelling at all well at the moment. They're struggling to get kick a decent score, and I think they're going to struggle against a pretty good West team on the weekend. Late game on Saturday sees South Whyalla play Waroona Bay. South beat the Bays 5 weeks ago, but since then the Bays have had a win. They played pretty well even though they lost against pretty good opposition last week, and I think the Bays might cause a mini upset here. And finally on Sunday, Memorial Oval, it's North Whyalla versus Rapina. Roos had a big win last week, but the gap in class between their opponents last week and what they're going to face on Sunday against the undefeated top team North Whyalla will be big, and the Magpies to win here.
Welcome to Port Lincoln Footy Tips. We kick things off with match of the round with the undefeated Waybacks taking on the informed Tasmans. Waybacks have a sensational back line and Tasmans have probably the best forward line. I feel this game's going to be won in the midfield, and with the youth and speed of Tasmans, I'm tipping them to win this one by 3 goals. In the next game, we've got Marble Range taking on Mallee Park. Marble Range are in slightly better form at the moment and should win this one by 6 goals. In the final game, we got Boston's taking on Lincoln South at Poole Oval. Both teams are looking for their first win of the year, and Lincoln South seem to be playing slightly better footy. I'm going to tip Lincoln South to win this one by 5 goals.
Round 4 of Broken Hill football this week sees North take on South at the Jubilee Oval. South are starting off where they finished last year, as I said last week. North are a very quality side, and if they put 4 quarters together, they'll give the Southerners a run. It'll be match of the round. I reckon it'll be North by 20 points. Second game sees Central take on West at the Memorial Oval. This game here will be a one-sided affair. I believe it'll be Central by 20 to 30 points over the Robins.
Good luck to all the teams. Stay with us after the break. Amy has all our local weather details, and Amy, a change came through the Gulf after a sunny week.
It sure did, Fraser, and the showers are expected to hang around for another day or so. I'll have the details next. Welcome back. Cloudy and some light showers in most centres today. Port Augusta and Whyalla saw highs of 19, while Broken Hill remained cooler and only managed a top of 16. A look at the satellite now, and a front is causing light showers in the far southeast. Skies are clearer further north, which is keeping overnight temperatures low. If you're out on the waters this weekend, southerly winds will shift southwesterly before picking up to 15 knots, while seas will reach 1 metre. Sunrise is at 7:06 with the sun setting at 25 past 5. And just before we look at tomorrow's weather, a big thank you to Nicole, who captured this amazing shot in Tumby Bay after some recent rains. And if you have a photo you'd like to share, we would love to see it, and you can email it to localnews@sca.com.au. Now for tomorrow's forecast, and it will be a wet start to the weekend in most districts. Port Augusta and Port Pirie will see a top of 20, 19 the top for Whyalla and Kadina. Looking into next week, and showers are going to clear by Sunday in Port Lincoln. Similar conditions in Cleve with maximums in the high teens. Meanwhile, Woodnut will have a sunny start to the week with a high of 20. Although Whyalla will see some light showers on Saturday, it's going to fine up into the new working week with a top of 18 on Tuesday. Port Augusta will reach 20 over the coming days, with Kadina also set for a fine start to the week. Maximums in Port Pirie will reach 19 after weekend showers clear. However, Clare will remain a little cooler and only reaching a top of 16. However, the sun is going to continue to shine in Broken Hill to kick off the new week, and a top of 17 degrees on Tuesday. So after some weekend showers, Fraser, it is looking like it'll be a sunny start to next week.
No better way to start the week. Thanks, Amy. And that's all the news to now. Thanks for your company. Good night.